What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for the Real Housewives of Dallas, Season 5, Episode 11. And so, it's the day after the party, and Deandra and Carrie meet up over Tiffany's house. Tiffany has a gift for Carrie for putting the party together for her. She had such a good time, you know, by the end of the night, half of them don't remember anything, and so they're talking about how the party ended. And well, first of all, Deandra can't tell her twins apart. I love seeing people with twins. Listen, I have taught twins. I have dealt with twins in my life, and I'm one of those people that is really, really hard with figuring twins out. Like, I gotta be around them for a while. But anyway, it's really cute. Anyway, so um, they end up talking about the party and how it ended, and they sort of end up getting into the conversation of um they end up getting into the conversation of what happened with Brandy and, well, what happened with Deandra and Mama D. And so remember, Tiffany has some insight on the whole Deandra Mama D thing, because they've known each other for a while. And Tiffany's thing is, listen, they fight, but they always come back around to each other. They love each other, so I don't even get into it because I already know how that's gonna end up. I already know how that's gonna circle around. But Deandra explained that she changed her last name not because of the advantages that it was going to bring her in her life, but because that is the man who took care of her, and it was sort of a um homage to him, for being, basically being a good dad, for being a good dad to her and taking her in when her dad sort of was. She said her dad was kind of absentee. I don't know why I have this little cowlick, but that her dad was sort of absentee, and so he sort of was there for her when her dad wasn't there. Um, then we talked about the whole Brandy Deandra situation, and Deandra brought up the whole thing about Brandy is real, her Christianity is real convenient, and I felt like she was really coming for me and questioning my faith and questioning my belief in God when this last year she done had a whole lot of going on, and I have had her back, and I haven't judged her, and I have been there for her. And I felt, I really felt some kind of way about how she was sort of coming at me about the shaman, you know and she wasn't really happy about it. And Tiffany and Carrie sort of felt the same way, like, yeah, that really, I don't feel like it got into religion. I mean, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, but I really don't think we're crossing any spiritual lines. That's just my opinion, and I was born and raised Catholic just like she is, but like Deandra said, but it was okay for when we went to a haunted house for her to talk about spirits coming to her and being able to talk to ghosts. And it's okay for her to drink, cuss, talk about sex and all this other stuff that she does. But now when it comes to this, all of a sudden that's a bridge too far. And I always feel like they would that when it comes to religion, because it just always brings me back to he who has sinned, least cast the first stone, or whatever. See, I already messed it up. I let you know, but I was there. I heard it. I know it. Um, and so of course Deandra was like, well, I guess at some point I'll talk about it. Now, Stephanie was going down to the school. Remember, she started a nonprofit. So, okay, this is what I'm picking up. Her husband's company, I guess one of her husband's companies, I guess they do locker rooms, but they do locker rooms for like professional teams and like money. And so she took a section of what he already does and turned it into her nonprofit. And the idea was to go into schools and rebuild locker rooms and stuff. And so they had people put in submission videos, and we know that she already picked the school. And so the locker room is done. Now, due to COVID and due to other things, she has not been able to do the whole kit and caboodle like she wanted to, but her and some of her, partners were flying down to the school to, let the kids see their new locker room. And of course, because of COVID, it was a very limited audience. Not all of the kids could be there. It was probably just a representative from each team, or one or two representatives from the team, for them to see the locker rooms. And let me say something, there are all different types of charities for all different reasons. That didn't come out right. For many different reasons. And there may be some people who would say, "Oh, this isn't a big deal. Why? Who cares about locker rooms?" But let me tell you something. It's the same as sort of like your self esteem being connected to what you see when you look in the mirror. When you go into a school and it looks like the district doesn't care about the school and the district doesn't keep up with the school, and things are falling apart and it's dirty and it's dingy and it may have rodents and things like that, what that subconsciously says to a child is, no matter what you tell me about how important my education is, what you're showing me is that it's not important. And so you could have the best athletic program in the world, as far as the best coaches and the best strategies. But when kids walk into their locker rooms and they feel as though it's no one cares about this, then it very quickly pulls away from people feeling like you don't really give a damn. Like you really don't care. And so I say all that to say this was a brilliant idea, Stephanie. This was great. I hope that you keep this up. I hope this wasn't a one and done thing for the purposes of, doing this. But I don't think it is, because, everybody was happy with it and it was really nice. The kids were overwhelmed. And Travis was like, listen, this is better than some professional. I mean, Brandy, because Brandy went with her. And Brandy was like, listen, this is better than some professional teams. Like, Brandy was a professional cheerleader, so she had seen, locker rooms, professional level locker rooms. And she's like, look, this is better than some stadiums. And yes, she was over budget and all of those things. But I think a lot of that was because it was her first time. She wanted to do it right. She wanted to do it at a level. And she also knew she could. Let's be clear. She knew she could go over budget because she knew Travis was going to pick up the slack. I really, truly hope that this is a program that she continues and that she extends it out, right? Her and Travis had a conversation, and she let Travis know. She said, listen, you didn't think I could do this. And it really hurt my feelings that I felt like you were doubting me. It hurt my feelings because I felt like you didn't think I could, but I did it. And he told her, he said, listen, I'm impressed. I am impressed. Thank you so much. And she said, I love being a mom. I love being your wife, and I love the life that you've afforded me. But there was something missing, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how to put my finger on it. And this sort of gave it back to me, because remember, she comes from a background in social work. So anyway, I've rambled on and on, but this really means a lot to me because I work in schools, and I know how something like this that might not seem like a big deal to other people, it really is a big deal. So anyway, Tiffany's mom comes to visit. She brings her a red envelope, which we know, she explained to us in Asian culture. That's kind of what you get on New Year's, with a little money and a little change. So her mom brought it by, and Tiffany automatically thought that her mother was coming by for something. She said, listen, my parents ain't really care about birthdays, and my mom never comes over here unless she wants something. So she said she want to bring me a birthday gift, but I'm just going to wait for the other shoe to drop, because I know that she really is coming over here for something else. But her mom didn't. And she told her mom about cutting her hours back at work, and her mother was absolutely supportive of it, at least on camera. Her mother was absolutely supportive of it, and her mom even said, well, you know what, eventually maybe you can cut back even more days and spend more time at home. I think that's a great idea. And she was like, well, Mom, who's going to buy you your Louis Vuitton, and who's going to buy you this and buy you that? And she was like, And here's what I believe. In that moment, and I'm not an immigrant child, okay? So, but I do come from a minority background, if you can't tell, of an oppressed people. And what I know is that parents want their kids to do better than them. So I get it that your parents were tiger parents. Your mom was a tiger mom. You felt like all they cared about was you getting a perfect grade and you getting perfect on your SAT. She said, where's the mom who threw her shoe at me for not, for getting a 1550 on the SAT instead of a perfect 1600? But your parents sacrificed everything to come over here to give you guys a better life. And I feel like The mindset is they're not going to waste this opportunity. My sacrifice will not be in vain. And I think that your parents were probably hard on you, not because they didn't love you and not because they were just these mean and hurtful people, but because at the end of the day, they were going to make sure that you were successful, whether you understood the gravity of being successful or not. And I feel like that's what they knew. If any of this is making sense, right? So, but I'm glad that Tiffany was able to have this conversation with her mom. And I'm glad it went well, because I was kind of waiting for her mother to go off on her and be like, what? You gonna do what? You not gonna go to work? What? But and Tiffany was shocked. Like, she was really sitting there like, okay. Now, I say all of that happened on camera because, let's be clear, people are, especially parents on these reality shows, are very conscious of the cameras being in their face, right? Deandra went to go talk to Mama D. Now, listen, I told y'all I love me some Mama D. I don't always agree with Mama D, but I find Mama D to be absolutely freaking hilarious, and I love her. Now, Deandra apologized. She said, I was wrong. No matter how angry I got, my behavior was out of line. And I apologize. And I can appreciate that, Deandra, because you got to start there, because you were wrong. And Mama D told her, she said, listen, whether I was your mother or not, you shouldn't even talk to someone of my age the way you spoke to me. And she was like, you're right. You're absolutely correct. She said, but I was angry at what you said. Now, this is what I'm going to say about Mama D. Mama D will stand in her shit. Whether she right or wrong, I don't know, because I won't there. But she will stand in her shit. She was like, listen, that's what I remember. I still remember the phone call. I remember you called me and you said, Mom, I'm going to change my last name to Simmons because it will afford me more opportunities. And Mama D is unapologetic about it and said, did it afford her more opportunities? It absolutely did. She's worked at the White House. She's done this and she's done that and she's done that. It absolutely has opened doors. Deandra has led a very blessed life, and I don't see nothing wrong with it. And I'm going to be honest, it goes back to sort of what I was just saying about Tiffany's mom. Mama D wanted a better life. She said it in last week's episode. I grew up poor. I didn't want to be poor no more. I didn't want my children to grow up the way I grew up. So if she went out of her way and stalked this man that she said she had stalked this man and chased him down so that she could, I don't want to say seduce Mama D, but seduce him. I don't think there's anything, what she's saying is there's nothing wrong with that. Now, Deandra, I know you don't want to be seen as a gold digger or whatever, but what we also find out is her taking on her stepdad's last name is what led to some of the problems that she had with her biological family, which is still continuing today. Now, I don't know why I thought that the people she was having the problems with was her stepdad's family. I didn't realize it was her biological dad's family. So that's where the double will and all of that, that's from them, okay? And the fact that they, still have not reached out to her or responded to her. And like Mama D told her, it may never happen. It may never happen. But at the end of the day, that, that's how you remember the story, living your truth. Now, let me tell y'all, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I believe Mama D. I'm going to tell you why I believe Mama D. One, I believe Mama D because I just like Mama D. But two, I believe Mama D because, remember, by Deandra's own admission, she was a hot mess during that time. She was getting high. She was getting drunk. She was on the road chasing bands and roadies and all of this stuff. She don't remember what she said. She called her mama one night. She was drunk. Her credit card got declined, and she said, I'm the hell with this. I'm a Simmons. I'm just saying. Now, my other question is, what trust fund is Mama D in charge of? Because if your stepdaddy was rich when he died, and your biological daddy was rich and left you everything, and you won that case in court, what money is Mama D in charge of? Because let's remember, Deandra is 51 freaking years old. Listen, if any of my rich family members leave me some money, I don't want it if I gotta wait till I'm 60. The fuck? Like, at what point does Deandra get her money? Anyway, Carrie is with her daughters. And this was a great moment, but once again, it's a little bit more of the same. Carrie's talking to her daughters about growing up and her relationship with her mom and how she's trying to repair her relationship with her mom. And, they show a scene with her talking to her mom about, growing up, her mom being alcoholic and blah, da, 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 do, 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 and da, da, ding. And then, her daughter's talking about, the sacrifices, the mental health, and all of those things. It was a nice conversation, but I feel like this is like the third version of the conversation we've heard this season. But I'm here for it, and I can appreciate her daughters being open to sharing their story with us. The daughter that has been open about her mental health issues, and the older daughter, she said, listen, I sort of played the background to respect that. It's one of those things where it's like, listen, I might have some issues, but I know my issues aren't as big or on the level, and I know you need to focus on helping my sister out because she's really, really struggling, and I know she needs your attention. So whatever I'm dealing with, I can sort of put in the back burner until I feel like you have time. And that was sort of the conversation. And, Carrie was like, listen, I don't want either one of y'all to feel like I don't have time. I just don't want that. I have time for all of you. I love you and I respect you. And so it was a moment. It was a moment. So now Tiffany has invited the ladies to a luau. Now remember, because they living good. And listen, Tiffany's a doctor. She made good money for a doctor, but they definitely live a lifestyle that is like, wow, okay. But we're getting more and more information about her husband. Her husband, we know that they own the wine business. His family also has real estate. They own hotels. And so she's having a luau for the ladies, sort of like a do-over to her pizza party. And it's going to be at her husband's hotel. And it is beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. She flew in flowers from Hawaii because that's where her and her husband got married. And they couldn't go to Hawaii for obvious reasons because of COVID. And so she's inviting the ladies to a luau, and on the way there, Brandy, Stephanie, and who rode with Brandy and Stephanie? Carrie. They were talking about the whole Deandra situation with the spiritual, Christianity thing. And of course, Brandy is like, I just think you're making a big deal about it. It wasn't that serious. It's just not that deep. Deandra gets there early to talk to Tiffany about it, and she's like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to talk to her about it. I just don't know. The event was nice. Okay, Tiffany didn't have any she didn't have a curfew. She didn't have any rules. It was just fun. Like I said, she had flowers flown in from Hawaii. Nice drinks. Carrie showed up with tequila infused pineapple. Listen, let me tell you something, Carrie. If you don't come out with a line of some sort of tequila t-shirts or something, because listen, you are on brand, okay? You and your tequila will not be departed, all right? And again, everybody showed up and it looked like they were having a good time, right? Few things happened at this event. Y'all know what we get to. Hold on. Listen, we find out that Cameron asked, not only has Cameron never paid a bill, she's never seen a bill. Must be nice. It must be nice. One day when I grow up, honey. One day when I grow up. So everything went well. They had the fire dancers. They took hula lessons. Again, everybody was in on theme with their outfits. Tiffany was really nice and light, and it was really, really fun. Really, really fun. Until we got to dinner. So while we're at dinner, we got to talking about the whole situation with Brandy, Deandra. They get to arguing. Now listen, I'm with Deandra on this one because I'm one of those people, because now Brandy want to try to make it seem like, well, I didn't say that and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And Deandra was like, no, yes, you did. Like, you questioned my spirituality. You questioned my faith and my commitment to my faith. And all this was was it was a meditation exercise. That is it. That is all. And Brandy started talking about, well, when he started talking about having outer body experiences, and I just felt like that was crossing lines. And Deandra was like, oh, like you seeing ghosts and talking to ghosts. Brandy talking about something, but I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for that. I struggled with that. But again, there are some people who will see that as witchcraft and devil work. And that's all the point that Deandra was trying to make, is that there are some people who see it that way. And so for you to sort of come out, it was like, that's sort of very judgy. And again, I felt like, and so then Deandra sort of threw it at Brandy and was like, listen, I have had your back. I have supported you and I have had your back. When people were coming for you, and the fact that you would be so judgmental after going through such judgment, that makes me feel some kind of way. And it hurts. It hurts. Now, Deandra, even though I had your back on this one, I really want you to find another word other than it hurts my feelings, because every time you say it hurts my feelings, you sound like a 5-year-old to me. So I need you to come up with something other than it hurt my feelings, but your point is valid. Anyway, that's where it ended, y'all. We're going to see what happens next week, because now it look like next week, Deandra, you put your foot in it next week. But we'll see what happens. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.